school week with the International Museum of Arts and Science. My name is Ronnie, and today we will be constructing a bee activity. This is our science activity in your kit, and this activity is geared for kinder through second grade. If you're a little bit older and you still want to do this activity, no worries. You can still do this activity with us. So as we're getting started, I would like to mention that we do have someone else behind the camera, Selena Michelle. She's going to be working the camera and she'll be answering any comments or questions that y'all have for us, okay? So while we're getting started, please let us know where you're tuning in from, where you're watching and viewing us from. Maybe you're from McAllen, Harlingen, Edinburgh, wherever you're from, let us know, and let us know what grade you're in, what grade you're going to, and also what's your favorite school subject. Maybe it's science, maybe it's art. So now we're going to go ahead and right here, we're in the heart of McAllen, Texas, located on Nolana Avenue and Bicentennial Boulevard. So if you ever want to visit us, we are still open, and I'll go ahead and mention our hours in a little bit. But while we're waiting for y'all to join in, we are going to unpack our kit that many of y'all were able to pick up. So in your kits, you had a tote bag of various colors, and we'd like to thank our partners and contributors that help make these kits possible. So thank you to the BBVA Foundation, to McAllen Public Utilities, McAllen Public Library, and also thank you to the Rio Grande Valley Chapter Society for Neuroscience. Without them, these school kits wouldn't be possible. So in your colored tote bag, you had many different supplies. You had a sketch pad, construction paper, various pencils and erasers and sharpeners. You also may have received crayons, markers, glue bottle, and even a small little hand sanitizer bottle from McAllen Public Utility. So if you didn't get a bag, no worries. You are still able to participate in this activity. If you go to our website, you'll be able to find the free printable lesson plan, the template, and it'll show you what supplies you need. So even if you're not kinder through second grade, this activity is still really fun. I would say even up to sixth grade, okay? Still learning about insects. All right, so if you didn't get a kit, like I said, don't worry, you can still help us. And Selena should have maybe place a comment, a link there in the comments if you want to go ahead and click that. You can go ahead and find those supplies there. So again, you're just joining in. We are here today for the virtual back to school week, and we are doing an activity called Constructive Being, all about insects. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and grab and gather our supplies. But is there anyone that's watching, that's letting us know where they're viewing from or what grade y'all are in?
We got a hello from Mission from Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
And I think that's it for right now in the comments.
Yeah. Well, let us know if in the past, this whole summer, we've been conducting virtual summer camps this whole summer. So maybe you participated in one of those summer camps. Let us know. We had many summer camps geared through K through sixth grade, I believe. We had Time Travelers Camp, we had Art Masters, Illustrators Camp, Bio Kids, including Buggy Bugs. It's similar to this activity.
Oh, we got another hello from Mission.
Hi.
And they're both first graders.
Hi, first graders, awesome. So I'm sure y'all love bugs. I love bugs. Bugs are very interesting, but we're gonna learn more about insects today and the difference between insects and other little creepy crawlers.
We got a kindergartner as well, Hunter.
Hi, Hunter. Thank you for joining us. I hope you like bugs. So now that we have, we're more familiar with our lesson today, I do want to show us what we're going to be making. Like I said, we're constructing a bee. So this is our example here, and what you had in your kit is a template, just like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to construct it and learn about the anatomy of an insect. And the anatomy is the scientific study of the body. So that's why I have a diagram here showing you the different body parts. And as we color our insect, we're going to learn the names of those body parts, okay? So right now we'll just go ahead and collect our supplies. Make sure you have them in front of you. Like I said, your main supply is going to be this sheet of paper, the constructed B sheet. You're going to need some colored pencils. If you have your kit, I know you have some colored pencils in your kit that you can use. You're going to have some scissors. You also got some in your kit in your pencil bag if you have that. And then you also would have received a little baggie of brass fasteners. So if you don't know what a brass fastener is, it's these little metal things here, and this is going to help us connect the body parts of the bee together. So that's it. These are your main supplies that you need. Constructed bee sheet, colored pencils, your scissors, and your brass fasteners. So hopefully everybody already has that. Now a little intro to what we're learning today. While I'm telling you this little intro, you can go ahead and pull out the colors that you want to use. As you see here, it's going to be orange, black, yellow, and some browns. So the world that we live in is covered in living organisms, but insects make up the largest group of animals on our earth. There are so many insects on our planet that there are around more than 9,000 different species. Technically 9,000, 2,600, and 4,000 different species. But there are many more yet to be discovered. So within our animal kingdom, there are many different groups of animals called phylums, and insects are part of a phylum or group called arthropods. Maybe some of y'all have heard of that word, arthropods. Let us know in the comments if you have. But an arthropod just means it is a small invertebrate animal, meaning they don't have a backbone. So we have backbones, right? We have a spine, we can bend our back, we can do all these movements. That means we have a backbone. But an invertebrate animal has no backbone, and they have a outer covering called an exoskeleton. I'm probably sure many of y'all have heard of that word, exoskeleton. It's that outer protective covering of that small arthropod. So I'm using these words to describe an insect. So an insect is defined as a small arthropod with a segmented body. And to be an insect, you have to follow two rules. You have to have 6 legs, and you need to have at least 2 pairs of wings. So for example, we see our bee here. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it has 6 legs, and then it has 1 pair of wings, and then 2 pairs of wings. A pair of wings just means that it has 2. So it has 2 pairs of wings, but not all insects have to have 2 pairs of wings. So that is what an insect is. So hopefully you have your colors out. We're gonna go ahead, and as we go through the body and we color the different parts, we'll learn a little bit more about the bee. So right here, we're gonna start with the head, and we're gonna start coloring the head. So right now, we can start with the eyes. Now the eyes are very important. They are the compound eyes. Maybe y'all have heard of that word, compound eyes. That just means that there are many, many eyes within one eye, little small eye segments. And this is going to make the insect's vision much stronger. It's going to make them able to see any quick movements while they're flying, and also so they can stay out of the way of danger from predators. What do you think a predator for a bee would be? And a predator means something that would hunt or eat the bee. You can let us know in the comments if you know what a predator might be for the bee. So I have the eyes black, and then as we see, the body is going to be a variation of orange and yellow.
While you color, I'm gonna go ahead and say hello to Ellie that's going into kinder.
Hi Ellie.
We have
Glad to have you here.
Gerardo going into 2nd grade.
Awesome, Gerardo.
A kinder and 2nd grader from Edinburgh. We have a Sophia and Ivan.
Hi Sophia and Ivan. Hello everybody. Thank you for joining.
Wow, yeah, we got a lot of viewers. Gael going into 2nd grade.
Gael, I wonder if he was from summer camps.
They're from San Juan.
San Juan?
Yeah, and I think this is a kid, Jerusalem.
Awesome. I'm
Oh,
so
man.
glad that we have so many viewers. So right now I'm just coloring the antenna. So the antenna is another important part of the insect body. It's going to help the insect sense smell and be able to touch things. So while they're flying around on these different flowers and plants, feeling around, this antenna is another important body part that's going to help them sense their surroundings. So there's this other little center of the head. I'm going to go ahead and color this brown. You can color it a little bit of brown and a little bit of black, but that's the head. So like I said, the antennas are used for sensing smells and for touching, and the compound eyes, unlike our eyes, are made up of many smaller eyes. And this is going to give the insects the ability to make really quick movements and stay out of danger's way. So that's the head. So right here, we're going to go down below, and this is going to be the second part of the segmented body, and this is called the thorax. Thorax, right? It's a cool word. And we're going to go ahead and start coloring that. It's going to be very similar colors. The center of the body is going to be yellow and orange. So you can grab your light yellow, and you can start coloring it. And as you see here on the body, there's all these like little lines right here. And that's because these are representing the texture on the bee's body, the little hairs all over the body. And this is a very important feature on insects, on most insects actually, because there's something called pollen, pollinators, and pollination. And maybe y'all have heard of those terms before. You can let me know in the comments. But I'll go ahead and describe one by one what that is. First off, pollen. Pollen is a fine powder that grows at the center of a flower's petals. Let's say if you're smelling a flower and you put your nose too close, you might, actually get a little bit of pollen on your nose by accident. And this pollen grows on the flowers, and this is part of the flower reproduction. So to have more flowers grow, the pollen is going to need to travel to another flower, and then that's how they'll produce more flowers. But if the pollen cannot travel on its own, it's going to have a hard time. So that's why pollinators are important, like this bee. And the pollinators are going to help carry the pollen from flower to flower. And that happens by the body of the bee. You see all these little hairs? The pollen's actually going to get stuck to it.
Actually, would you mind turning that around real quick? A little flip, just so we can get a view of that.
So the pollen's going to get stuck to the body of the bee, and this is going to help the pollen travel. If the pollen doesn't travel to other flowers, then the reproduction cycle won't occur, or it won't happen. So if we don't have pollinators, then it's very hard to happen. The other way that pollination can occur, and pollination is a word for the action of the pollen landing on the male and female parts of the flower. If that doesn't occur, then we won't have new flowers and new seeds and new fruit, like tomatoes and other fruits like strawberries, any other plant that produces flowers and fruits. So that's why pollinators are important. If we don't have pollinators, then we might rely on the wind. So that is why most bug or pollinator bodies are very, very furry and hairy, because the pollen catches onto the body, and then when they go to the next flower, it falls off. So now we're going to color the last part of this right here. This is the bottom part, and this is the abdomen. The abdomen. So this bee is modeled after a honeybee, and the honeybee typically has black and yellow stripes on its body. I'm going to color these white parts yellow, and then these little parts black.
I'm going to give a quick hello to Haley, Nathan, and Zachary.
Hello, Haley, Nathan, and Zachary. Thank you for joining us.
Third grade, and 2 third graders and a 5th grader. And
awesome.
we also have Rodrigo and Ray in Edinburgh.
Hi, Rodrigo and Ray.
David going into 2nd grade. And I think...
So while I'm coloring this, you can let me know if you all have ever seen some bees at your house. Like I was saying, pollination is an important part of nature, because without it, we wouldn't have the continual growth of flowering plants and fruits. So we always want to, protect the bees, because they're very important in nature. But bees are not the only pollinators. There's actually a lot of different insects that still pollinate. Insects that might surprise you. You can let us know in the comments if you can think of another pollinator. One common pollinator is a butterfly. A butterfly's body will also catch pollen because they love to land on flowers and they love to drink nectar. Nectar and pollen is a food source for the butterflies and other pollinators. So when they go and they drink the nectar, they catch pollen on their legs and then they fall off on other flowers and the continual process of pollination occurs. Now this honeybee has a stinger right here, right? But not all pollinators are gonna have stingers like the bee. But the honeybee, if you notice, fun fact, the honeybee can only sting you once, while other bees, like let's say a bumblebee, can sting you multiple times. So it's not true that that all bees only sting once. That's only certain bees, like the honeybee. And while the stingers are kind of scary, right? Bees are not threatening. They're not going to hurt you. They'll only feel threatened if you're like threatening their home. But usually they're not aggressive insects. But yeah, fun fact that the bumblebee can sting multiple times. The honeybee only can sting once. But the honeybee and the bumblebee both produce honey. The bumblebee, though, much less. So only the honeybee is used for honey production. So when you go to your stores and you buy honey, it's coming from a honeybee. All right, so we did the abdomen, the thorax. Now the thorax, right, I said was the center of the body. This is where your wings are going to be attached on. The thorax is underneath the head where the wings are and the front legs are located. So remember, like I said, to be an insect, how many legs do you need to have again? If you want to put on the comments, let me know how many legs you need. So let's go ahead and color our legs. You can color them a dark black or a dark brown, or you can do a mixture of both.
A quick hello to Alyssa going into kindergarten.
Hi, Alyssa. I'm happy y'all are here to join us and do this activity with us. I really love bugs and insects. They're very important in nature. Besides being pollinators, they're also a food source for many animals outside in the yards and your grass and nature, specifically to birds. Now, when I was saying what are some other pollinators that maybe we don't think of besides butterflies, some other pollinators that you might not think of are ants. Ants will crawl all over your plants, and they will also carry pollen with them to other neighboring flowers. So like on my plants at home, I have a lot of ants, and usually they were annoying, but then I learned that they're actually helping my plants pollinate. So I left them there, and they're not killing my plants or bothering them. They're just doing the job as pollinators. But ants are not the only types of pollinators. There's also flies. Flies, right? Flies are typically, we think they're annoying and they're in the way, but flies, actually, a lot of the time you might see them on a flower. They like flowers too. And they will also catch pollen on their body. It all depends on if their body can catch the pollen or pick it up with those tiny little hairs on their legs or on their on the abdomen or the thorax. So now I have colored my entire bee body. So we're gonna go ahead and start cutting the body parts out, okay? So to make it simple, I'm just gonna cut it out into big chunks. So I'm gonna cut the body. And don't worry, when we're cutting, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna cut the wings out to the side. Now hopefully you have a pair of scissors. If you had the kit, you would have got a pair of scissors in your pencil kit. Thank you again to all of our contributors and helpers that made this possible. Thank you to BBBA Foundation, to McAllen Public Utility, McAllen Public Library, and to the Society of the Rio Grande Valley Chapter Society for Neuroscience. They all contributed to these kits and made this possible today. So I have my wings, my body, my 2 front legs, 1 back leg, and then I'm cutting out my last back leg. And I'm just roughly cutting them so I can start cutting out the body parts right here. I'm going to start with the head. And like I said, it is okay. You don't have to be perfect while you're cutting. But while we are cutting, I do want to tell you about some exhibits that we have here at the museum. And like I said, we are still open. We are open on Wednesdays for sensory-friendly hours. We have dim lighting. We have a space, quiet space. And then on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we are open from 9 to 3. And then we close from 3 to 6. From 1 to, we're open from 9 to 1, and we close from 1 to 3 to clean. And then we open back up from 3 to 6. So you have 2 slots that you can try to make it out to us if you'd like. If you're not able to come in the morning, maybe you can come in the afternoon. But we do have some new exhibits that we would love for y'all to see. One of those being wild bees, which works out perfectly for this activity today. I have my bee head cut out. So when you come to the museum, our admission prices have changed. So if you're 4 and up, it is only going to be $1 for you to come in. So we really encourage y'all to come over and see our exhibits and just to visit us. We would love to have your support here at the museum. And like I said, we have this wonderful exhibit called Wild Bees. And this exhibit is a collection of photographs, nature photography. Nature photography is when you take photographs of nature, and that could be trees, animals, grass, but in this case, it's all photographs of bees. So right now, right here, I cut out my head, my thorax, and now I'm cutting out the abdomen. Now these collection of photographs are macro photography. That just means that the photographs are really, really close up, where you can see all of the details of the bee's head, the antenna, the eyes, all the little hair on the bodies and the flowers. And this exhibit was brought to us by 2 photographers, Ross Eatman and Paula Sharp. And together they created a foundation to take nature photography as a way to spread conservation issues. In this case, to educate the public about bees, why they're important, and how we should make sure that we conserve them. Now these photographs come from 2 different areas. Paula Sharp and Ross Eatman, they started in New York, and they took a lot of photographs of bees from New York. A lot of beautiful photographs. And then they continued their journey here in the Rio Grande Valley, and they went to the Butterfly Center, the National Butterfly Center in Mission, and then they documented the bees that we have here in the valley. As you would imagine, do you think we have the same bees in New York? Probably not, because of the weather. And we have different plants, so there'll probably be different kinds of bees. So through this photographic exhibit, they were able to see all these different types of bees that we have here in the valley that haven't been found anywhere else. So that is a really, really good exhibit that we would love for y'all to check out. So we have our wings, our abdomen, and we're gonna cut out our legs. So I'm gonna go a little bit quicker on the legs. I hope y'all are having a okay time cutting. I hope it's not too difficult. So let us know, like you were telling us what grade you're from. Let us know, what are your favorite hobbies? Maybe your favorite school subject. It could be your favorite hobby too. Maybe you love to draw. Maybe you love science and you like doing experiments. Or maybe you love to play outside. Let us know, please. We'd love to hear from y'all who are watching us and visiting and participating in these activities with us. So we're cutting out the legs, these little legs. Remember, an insect has 6 legs. And an important thing about insects is that sometimes we confuse them with other bugs that have more than 6 legs. Maybe y'all know of another bug that has more than 6 legs. We see them all the time. I'll give a second, maybe you can put in the comment of a different bug that's not an insect.
All right, we have some comments. Jerusalem is going into 1st grade.
Awesome.
And someone is asking, it says, regarding the pollen, I did not know it helps with the flowers. Thank you.
Yes, it's very important. Yeah, everything on the flower is very important. There's a male and female part of the flower, and that pollen has to make its way to another flower's part of the male part, and that will create the reproduction process. So let's say you have a tomato plant and that tomato flower doesn't get pollinated, then that tomato plant may not grow any tomatoes. So that's kind of how that happens. I have one more leg. I have my back leg.
Max and CJ love to swim.
Oh, awesome. I love to swim too. I was in swimming pretty much my whole life. From 1st grade until high school. I love to swim.
Someone's favorite hobby is playing at the playground.
Ooh,
that was one of my favorites.
That's awesome, yeah. I know it's really hot right now, but it is so good to be outside. The sun is also good for us, especially if we're inside too long.
And Jerusalem likes going to the gym.
Ooh, working out. That's awesome. Keeping healthy.
So Ronnie, you have a green thumb, right? You have a lot of plants in your backyard.
Yeah, I have a lot of plants. So that's why I really like this activity, and I like to talk about pollination because I am a little bit of a gardener. I had quite a big tomato plant that gave me a lot of tomatoes, so I got to see firsthand the action of all these little bugs pollinating. And I got to see that it's not just butterflies and it's not just bees. There's ants, there's flies, there's beetles. So yeah, it's not just your typical honeybee that's doing this pollination. Another thing that I learned is that not all insects are pollinators, like a dragonfly. Dragonflies are really pretty, but they do not pollinate. That is because their legs don't have any little hairy hairs on them to catch the pollen. So we have colored our bee. We have cut it out, and now it is time to put it together. So to put it together, we're gonna go ahead and pre-puncture these holes on our body just to make it easier. So all of these little black spots, I have one brass fastener, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to just poke a hole through it, just like that. We're just gonna poke them through these black spots. Just one hole. And that's gonna make it easier when we connect our bee. So right now I am puncturing the thorax of the bee, the little black holes. And the cool thing is that these brass fasteners are going to make it a moving bee with moving parts. So I have the abdomen. I'm gonna puncture a little hole right there. The head right here. I'm gonna puncture it right there. There's a little hole. And then we're going to do that for the wings. And it's okay if the wings are not exactly on the hole. You can put a little bit closer up here so it doesn't tear.
Actually, I have a pollinator question.
Yes.
But before I do, let me say really quick, we have Callum is going into 1st grade and he likes to take nature walks.
Oh, that is so cool.
And play video games. I love video games.
Selena loves video games.
And we have another that likes to play outside and swim in the pool as well.
Awesome.
Hunter and Ralphie enjoy going outside and looking for bugs.
Yay!
And different plants with their mom.
That's so cool.
And Ray and Rodrigo like to go on bike rides.
Nice.
Okay, and my question was, can a caterpillar be a pollinator?
A caterpillar, while it is on the plant, yeah, it technically can pollinate because some caterpillars have a lot of hair on their body, and as they're going on the flowers, they love to eat leaves, and they do like to eat some flowers. They could catch some pollen, but it all depends if they go from one flower to the next pretty quickly with the pollen on them. Because the thing about caterpillars is they move pretty slowly. So it's possible, but it might not happen all the time. So we have everything cut. I have all my holes punctured, and I'm going to start with the 3 main segmented body parts. So I took my head and I put it on top of the thorax, and I put the brass fastener all the way through. So now I'm going to turn it behind, and the brass fasteners, how they work is you're going to split them apart like that, and since they're pretty big, we're going to bend them inward again, like this. You can get a good view of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So you see, it still moves. So we're going to do that process again for all the other body parts. So now we have our abdomen. We're going to place that over here, and I'm going to put the thorax layered over it. Actually, I'm going to put the abdomen. I think the abdomen goes on top like this. So we put brass fastener through the hole, and then through the second hole right there. Now we're going to turn it around and do the same thing. It's going to be a little repetitive right here while we're putting it together, but every time you put something on, you can kind of move it and make sure that it's moving properly. So now that we have that, we're going to put our 2 wings.
We got a science lover.
Yay!
Good project for them.
So now we're going to put it through the wing, and then we're going to put it over on top of the thorax, turn it around, and like I said, we get a little repetitive, but just make sure that you bend your brass fasteners inward. If not, they're going to hit each other as you're turning the body around. Now we have our second wing. And I really love brass fasteners. You can do a lot of fun activities with these if you want to make your art and crafts movable or have moving parts. It makes it a lot more interactive. Turn it around, bend your brass fasteners. Now we have our wings, like so. So now we're just gonna go ahead and add our legs now, okay? You see, they're already moving. So when you're done, your V will be complete. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the back legs right here. And with the legs, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put them underneath the body. So I'm gonna poke through the thorax first and the legs second. And then you want to make sure that they're in position. You want to move your brass fastener a little bit, just like that. And we bend it like so. You got your back leg. And the back leg might hide a little bit behind the abdomen, but that's okay. That's usually how it looks in nature. And poke through the thorax. The back leg. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, just like so. And then with the brass fasteners, you use your little fingernails to bend it inward like so. Now we got our 2 back legs. Now we have 2 more legs. So same thing, I'm going to poke through my thorax first. And then on my legs, it's going to be going outwards. And I'll show you right now. Like so. I'm going to turn it around. Bend it inward. And my leg moves. So we have one more part of our beam right here, our last leg. Right? I'm going to push it through the thorax first. And then the leg, our last leg. Turn it around. Bend our brass fasteners. And then our beak is complete. So now you have your completed beak with moving parts. So you can move the wings around, the head around. And this is just a fun activity to further, learn and remember the parts, the anatomy of the body of the insect. So here we have the head that has the antenna used for sensing smell and feeling things near them. The compound eyes, which is going to help them have a better view, stay away from danger. These compound eyes help them react quickly to danger. And then we have your wings. The insect is always going to have 1 or 2 pairs of wings. And then you're always going to have 6 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 legs to be an insect. If you have more than 6 legs, you are definitely not an insect. Like a spider. A spider is considered an arachnid. And then you have your 3 main parts: head, thorax, abdomen. Awesome. So that is your body of the bee. So I hope you learned from this activity. We learned about pollination, pollinators. We learned not all insects are pollinators, like the dragonfly. The dragonfly is not a pollinator. It doesn't grab any pollen. And we learned that unusual bugs are pollinators, like ants, flies, beetles. Beetles, you might typically not like, oh, where are the wings? Where are the wings to the beetles? Well, that outer shell of the beetle is actually that pair of wings. But through evolution, the beetle's body has evolved a harder outer shell for those wings. So beetles are pollinators too. And out of all insects, beetles are the largest group of insects. So I really hope you like this activity. If you have any questions in the comments, please let us know. I'd like to thank all of these contributors that made the virtual back to school week possible. Thank you to BBVA Foundation. Thank you to McAllen Public Utilities, to McAllen Public Library, and thank you to the Rio Grande Valley Chapter Society for Neuroscience. Without them, this whole all these kits wouldn't be possible, and we're very thankful for them to giving us this opportunity to provide all of these school supplies to all of y'all kids of the Rio Grande Valley. So thank you so much. I hope you all had fun. And please come and visit us online. Visit us at the museum. You can visit us online. We have virtual exhibits as well. But yeah, thank you so much. And come back tomorrow. We'll be continuing the virtual back to school week. Tomorrow we will be doing ombre watercolor landscapes, and this activity is going to be geared for 3rd through 5th grade. So 3rd through 5th graders, you want to do this activity, do some art, come join us tomorrow. All right, thank you guys for joining in.